And we are back at Greystone with Georgia head football coach Kirby Smart. Coach, it's always good to see you here. I remark this every year, but you do not miss, and your loyalty to this tournament is really quite commendable.
Yeah, I think a lot of regions. The CEO is a good friend of mine, John Turner, Georgia grad. He does a lot for our university, and it means a lot to be able to come back to a state that I was born in and give back to these children.
That's a little known fact that you're from here.
Yeah, it's born in Montgomery, and mom and dad went to Sanford. So when I get a chance to come to Birmingham, it's special to me.
No doubt. We were talking to other coaches, and many of them are a broken record about this time of the year. I guess maybe there was a time when spring ball ended and you got to do some things, but not anymore.
Well, I don't know. I think when spring ball ended for us, it has given me an opportunity to kind of take a break, take a deep breath once the portal ended. I mean, that's April 30th. And this month of May has been great so far, and our players are finishing final exams. They have a break. We have a break. There's no change in schools now. So, like, the window we're in right now is good. We're recruiting next year's class, and we're all trying to figure out where this thing's headed. But we got a lot of smart people, and hopefully we're going to pull this thing together and make it better for everybody.
I mean, I would agree with you that we have a lot of smart people, but we're still in a rather screwed up place in college football. As somebody who's been in it his entire life, your parents have been in education, and you've been a player coach. I mean, I realize you're not paid to come up with a solution. You're paid to win national championships, which you've done quite often. But how do we get out of this?
Well, we have strong leadership, make tough decisions. See things from the player's perspective, which I think is important. And I don't want to sit up here and belittle NIL. I think NIL in and of itself is a long time coming. The players deserve a piece of this, and we want that. But we also want them and everybody to understand that it's okay to grind it out where you are, to fight through tough times. I mean, we have example after example at our place of people who didn't start, and they were frustrated. In their third year they started, and in their fourth year they were a top 3-round draft pick. That's a pretty good career. I think that's good. And if players can make money while they do that, alter their name, image, and likeness, that's a good thing.
In terms of what isn't good, where would you point your finger?
Well, an opportunity to leave twice within a year. I think we're going to look back on that 10 years from now and say that, you know, the people that had multiple transfers are probably not going to be successful academically. And I think that's going to look back and say, was that a good thing that I left twice? I mean, most of the kids we check in with that leave our place, they always say they regretted it. Well, if you leave a place twice, what did you actually accomplish? You know, and that's probably the toughest thing for me is that.
You were a very good student. I've sat on your campus often with your president, bragging on you being one of his students. So what I mean by asking that and mentioning that is the student part of this gets lost. And how do you bring it back, or can you bring it back?
Yeah, I think it does get lost in it because a lot of people don't look at it that way because of the amount of money that football brings in and revenue sports bring in. But what people don't realize is those same revenue sports carry most athletic departments and their other sports, their non-revenue sports. So we're very fortunate that we have television partners that love the SEC. They pay the SEC a lot of money for television revenue, and finding a way to be able to support the other athletic programs as well as the football players and basketball players who produce revenue. I think there's a balance in there somewhere.
Your program has been on an incredible roll in recent years. You won 2 championships. Last year you came within a whisker. Is it feel the same? Is it the same? Because you'll be the favorite again here in a couple of months.
Yeah, you know, we'll be the favorite in some people's eyes. Some people find things wrong with us. We got a really hard schedule. We play 3 top 15 teams on the road in our conference. That's tough. But we've got a good football team. We've got a very consistent football team. We say it all the time. We're built to sustain at Georgia. We don't want to be a one-hit wonder. We don't want to live and die through the portal. We want to grow our players from signing with us, make them better, and then give them an opportunity at the next level and to be better contributors to society. So I don't think we're going to have a good football team next year. I don't know how good, and I don't know how we'll play on some really tough road games, but we'll see where it falls.
Coach, in terms of where we're going, which is obvious, we have a 16-school SEC and a 12-team playoff. I doubt it changes your mindset because you're pretty much the same, but how does it change the overall sport, especially with that 12-team playoff?
I think it opens it up to more teams. I think it's going to make a big debate at the end with your teams that are playing to play in and teams that might play their way out. I think these conference championship games are going to be really critical because there's going to be teams that are playing that are already in, win or lose, and there's going to be a team maybe playing their way in by how they play. It's going to make them very interesting. Do people start holding people out for buys and home games in the playoffs? It'll be interesting to see what the 12-team playoff brings about new. Our coaches are already talking about across the country. Are you going to practice different? It's going to be a longer season. Are you going to hold back more? How are you going to manage the extra games?
You were in that situation a couple of years ago in Atlanta. You were in. It didn't matter what you did, but I didn't detect one thing different on the field.
No, there wasn't too much pride in winning an SEC championship. They're too hard to come by. We've had 2 national championships, but we've also had 2 SEC championships, so we've had equal number of those. That's hard to do. It's hard to win an SEC championship. So I know at our place we take a lot of pride in that, and you want to win a championship.
And finally, overall, you worked hard to get Georgia to where you envisioned it. You've been part of championships, obviously, before there. Is the journey the same for you and your program, even though you've now done it a couple of times and have come close a couple of times? Take us through the odyssey of being Georgia.
Well, we've come to have an expectation of excellence, and there's a standard now of like, hey, you're supposed to win every game. And I watched that happen, in Alabama, where it was like, if you're not careful, you find no joy in winning.
Right.
And if you take the joy and suck the joy out of winning, it makes your career shorter. It makes it frustrating for the players. So we still celebrate every win because on the SEC, playing on the road is really hard. So when we win games, we get excited about it. We find joy in it, and we've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed that ride. I think it's different every year. Like you have a different team. I'm trying to figure out exactly what this team needs. This team has been a little hungrier in spring ball because they didn't win it. They weren't in the playoffs. So there's a little bit of more motivation there.
I mean, not to go back, but because there's a new season upon us. But last year was so bizarre. And it seemed like it slipped away in the blink of an eye. Do you leave that behind, or does that still stick with you?
No, I'm long past. I was really proud of the way we finished the season, in the bowl game, playing out. And that's part of football. It's like that's the storyline, is that you can win all these games consecutively in football, whatever it was, 28, 29 regular season games in a row. But if you don't win the championship and you don't advance, you look back and say, what could we have done better? And we'll always look back on that. But we don't, right now, we're not doing that. We're looking forward at what's this team going to do? How's this team going to play? Got a really tough schedule. And hell, I'm excited to get an opportunity to go out there and play. I'm so tired of all the talk about NIL and all the talk about portal and all the complaining. Let's go play football. Let's get our team against their team, and let's go see where we stand, and let's go play.
We'll end on a high note, because that's really what it's all about. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Paul.
Kirby Smart joining us here at Great State.